Hello, Michigan and Lansing, Michigan. It's great to be talking to you today and great to be back in this great state. Just was here in July down at Grand Rapids and really enjoyed the city, enjoyed the weather. At the time back in Texas, it was well over 100 degrees, and come to Michigan had temperatures in the 80s. It was really really nice. So it's really great to be back with you guys today. Always a pleasure. Today, I want to focus on restoring the American dream. I think this is something that's very important um, right now. When I was growing up, we had a great president, a president by the name of Ronald Reagan. In his 8 years in the White House, President Reagan brought about a sense of pride in our nation. He brought back a sense of patriotism that his country needed badly. The nation at the time had high unemployment, high gas prices, the Iranian hostage crisis. We are seeing some of those same things today. A lot of that's in the news. We hear about employment rates that are going back up again, high gas prices. What's the last price you paid at the pump? It's not where it needs to be. We are seeing some of those same things today. What our nation needs is another Ronald Reagan. During the last year, many people have called me a 2000s version of Ronald Reagan. And while I'm flattered by the comparison, and President Reagan and I shared some of the same beliefs and values, there is only one President Reagan. President Reagan often talked about patriotism. He felt it was important, as well as I do. A rebirth of our nation's patriotism starts in our schools. Our schools must return the pledge and prayer to our schools immediately. For it's these two things, the pledge and prayer in schools, that build the basis for patriotism in our nation. When I was in high school, I had a government teacher who instilled a great sense of patriotism in me. He taught you to believe in your government. And while he was from a different party, he never tried to push his agenda on his students. Our nation needs more Bill Hickeys. We must elect leaders who do not endorse or support the critical race theory. Matter of fact, what we need to do in our classrooms is to get back to learning. We need to learn American history. We need to quit cleansing what American history is and teach it. American history is what American history is. Yes, there was mistakes made. Yes, there were great accomplishments made in our nation's history, but that must be taught in our classrooms. We must elect leaders that are against the liberal, progressive agenda of the Democratic Party. You know, one of my favorite TV shows is West Wing. You remember that show? Rob Lowe, aka Sam Seaborn, talks about education. And I'll quote Mr. Seaborn here: education is a silver bullet. Education is everything. We don't need little changes, we need gigantic, monumental changes. Schools should be palaces. Competition for the best teachers should be fierce. They should be making six-figure salaries. Schools should be incredibly expensive for government and absolutely free of charge to its citizens, just like national defense. Now, I recently watched that episode, and I saw that line, and he talks about national defense. And you think about it, our schools are our national part of our national defense. For it's in these classrooms, starting back in pre-K, all the way through 12th grade, and even in our public colleges, that our future leaders are made. In these classrooms today are our future presidents, our future our future astronauts, our future scientists, our future engineers. We must get them ready to assume these roles, and that starts now with a good, solid education. We've got to stop this this stuff about teaching, um, about being afraid to teach history. Like I just said, our history is what it is. Let's teach the good, the bad, the ugly. For by learning our history, we have a good chance of not repeating the same mistakes. The Democratic Party of President Bartlett of the West Wing is nothing like the Democratic Party of today. Today's party is endorsing a far left agenda, something this nation does not need. When it comes to government spending, the Democrats want more government and entitlements. I'm for less government and the end of social welfare. During the last 2 years, our nation has experienced a pandemic not seen in many years. In fact, since the Spanish flu, many, gov- uh, many government programs were put in place to help stabilize our economy. Our economy was essentially shut down. We have got to reopen our economy. The latest job reports show that there's 10.2 million jobs available. 10.2 million jobs available. And unemployment is starting to creep back up again. My fellow Americans, there are enough jobs for all of us in this country to work. We must end the entitlement programs that were the norm during the pandemic. Right now, we have vaccines in place, boosters in place. The COVID numbers are down. It's time for us to get back to work. Our schools are still rebounding from the pandemic. The latest information available shows that reading and math scores have dropped between 5 and 8% nationwide. We learned that during the pandemic that remote learning, while valuable during the early days of the pandemic, does not have a place in today's classroom. It does not have a place in today's classroom. During the pandemic, there were many times where our students would log on to these computers and get at best 30 minutes instruction a day if they showed up. We've got to stop that. There's not a need for that right now. There's not a need for that. The polarization we are seeing in our nation because of the pandemic must stop. We must learn to respect each other again and each other's opinion. We have come so divided. Hatred has increased across our nation. It's time for this to stop. My friends, in our nation's 245-year history, we have accomplished great things during a national crisis. Mankind's greatest achievement was accomplished during the Vietnam War. Remember what that was? The Apollo moon landing. We can once again achieve great goals during a national crisis, such as a pandemic, only if we come together as one. And this starts by respecting one another. Let's start respecting one another again. Let's reach out to our brothers and sisters and shake their hands. Let's once again become that nation that President Reagan talked about so often, that shining city on the hill. In Matthew 5, verse 14, Matthew says, "You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden." My friends, in the word of Scripture, let us become what Matthew called the city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. Let's move forward from here today, united, united to make this a greater America. In just a few short weeks, our nation goes to the polls and makes a decision. And we had to decide as a nation, do we elect leaders that believe in bringing our country together? Do we elect leaders who want to divide our nation? My friends, I support the leaders who want to bring our nation together because it's only then that we will be that we can come together. That a lot of the things that are happening in our nation will stop if we just come together as one and stop the hatred. We do that, America will be on the road to many more great endeavors. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless our troops. Thank you all very much.